This is Bruce with Big Fish Software, and in this video I'm going to show you the pace clock, and I'm also going to simulate what the pace clock would look like on an external display. So one of the cool things about the app is that, at least I think it's one of the cool things, is that you have a pace clock feature. So I'm going to select this little pace clock example, and it's just a real short workout with some really short intervals. And just to kind of introduce you to what the pace clock can do. So I'm going to click on the pace clock, and before I do that, you'll notice that this screen over here, this says external display. That's a simulator that I have on my computer, and what it does is it allows me to simulate if you had your phone hooked up to an external display, either through a cable connection or through a Wi-Fi connection, or through AirPlay. This really works well with Apple TV if you use AirPlay on Apple TV. But there's other options where you can have video go from your iPhone or iPad over to an external display. So I'm going to click on the pace clock option, and you notice that pace clock has not been started, but you see that the external display has changed. So now I have the pace clock window, and it's showing me the workout that's going to be executed. The three little bars here is basically showing me that nothing's been started yet. Now, I may not want, maybe I don't have a real big external display, I may not want to have the sets displayed. That's totally up to you. So we have an options button up here in the iPhone. So I click on that, and I can change different things about the clock. And one of those things right at the top, show sets on external. So if I click that off and then click the done button, you see that the sets have gone away. So you can configure whether or not you want the swimmers to see what the sets are coming up. Let's talk about some of the other options in here. You can have the clock count up or count down. And you can also set the colors. Let's say you can play around with this and see what you like, but let's say you want the normal color to be really a nice calming blue, but the start button, or at the start of the repeat, you want to get the swimmer's attention, so you want to have the display color of this green. And then maybe as right before the end of a repeat, it's going to turn yellow for a little bit, and then the swimmers will see, oh, it's yellow, I got to get ready to go again. So you do all that, set those options in here. You can also choose to play the startup sound, and when you do that, if you click this on, it will beep when the set starts, and then the way this is configured, it's also going to beep every 7 seconds for the next 3 intervals, so the next 3 send-offs. So it'll beep on 7, 14, and 21. And if you want to tighten those up a little bit, I can change that to a 5-second interval. So it'll beep on the 5, 10, and 15, or maybe I only want to beep once. So completely configurable. Also for the color change, so when we start a new set and it's going to display the screen, we can say how long we want that to stay up there for. So right now it's only configured to be 3 seconds, and then after the 3 seconds it will go back to the normal display color. And then we also have the same kind of thing at the end of the repeat. So just before the repeat is about to end, 5 seconds before it's going to end, we'll beep. We'll play, in this case, 3 beeps to let the swimmers know that they should be getting ready to start the next set. Okay, so those are the options that we can configure. So I'll leave the beeps on. I think that we'll be able to hear them when we run the clock. We'll find out. So we'll click done on that. Now, so as I said, the clock's not started. On an iPhone, we don't have a lot of space. So what we've done is, you see these little dots here at the bottom. You can change the display. So if I swipe to the left, I can get a percent of effort chart. And you can use this to help your swimmers calculate out how fast they should be swimming. If you have a set that is 70% of effort, they basically would go in and say, well, my best time in a 25 free or a 50 free is 25 seconds. 70% would be about 32 and a half. So we can use this thing to calculate out percent of effort based on their best time. Let's see, we swipe back to the other way, and you notice that now that the screen has been updated with our new normal color here. So that's if I swipe left, or if I swipe from left to right, then I go to the percent of effort. If I swipe from right to left, we'll go to a screen there where I can see the upcoming sets. And since it's not running now, I can scroll through those, I can edit those. And then this is also where it will let me start the pace clock. I can start it from the beginning of the workout. Or I can come down here and let's say I was interrupted for some reason and I came back in and they're already in the middle of the workout. Let's say they've done warm-up already. I can select one of these items and then use this Start from Selected button to start the workout at that point instead of from the beginning. And then finally, if I swipe over, I get to the attendance screen. So here's where I can go in and while my workout is running, I'll be able to swipe over here and then I can click on the different options here as to whether or not the swimmer is here or not. And you see as I'm clicking through here, it's changing 25, 50%, 75%. These options are configurable in the settings screen. So let's say you only want to do attended and excused. You can go through and set up those 2 options, or absent, I guess, maybe the 3rd option. You can set those up, and then as you click, you'll cycle through those settings that you've created. There's also a trash can on here that will remove this swimmer. So let's say you don't want to count attendance one way or another for this swimmer. You can hit the little trash can, and that will take that swimmer out of this workout attendance. Doesn't delete the swimmer, just deletes their attendance record. Okay. Now let's say you had an athlete. So by default, what will happen is you'll see all of the swimmers that are defined in the group. And I believe this is the gold group that this workout is set up for. So you see all of those swimmers. Now, let's say a swimmer was invited up from the silver group and you want to add them in and take attendance and give them credit for being there. I click the Add Attendance button or Add Athletes button. And I can see all the athletes, and I only see the ones that aren't currently assigned. So you see, I deleted Jane Freeman from this workout, so I can add her back in if I want. So let's add Alex Smith and Jeff Jeffries and accept. And then now I have Alex Smith and Jeff Jeffries in this list. And I can take attendance and it will count for them. Okay, so that's the attendance feature. The little eye icon allows you to jump over to the athlete's information. So let's say somebody, you notice an athlete isn't there, and you don't have to exit out of the workout. You can jump right in, and possibly you'd have a phone number, and you could call if you wanted to find out why the athlete's not there. You could do that right from within the app. So let's go back to the pace clock screen, and I'm just going to start the pace clock here from the beginning so you can see what it looks like. Oh, and it wants access to my. Oh, there we go with the beeps. You won't get that pop-up message. That was just because I'm running on a simulator here. But you see how it's beeping every 5 seconds after the workout starts. This is a little bit strange because these intervals are so fast. It's going through these sets very, very quickly. So you really don't get to see the color changes as much as you would on a longer set. But I think you can get the idea. Now, as the workout's running, you see that it is highlighting on the iPhone. It's highlighting the current set that it's on, and I can scroll through, but it will keep highlighting where it's at, so you can have a good reference to that. Let me go and just turn on. As I say, workout's still running, so you still see it on the external app here, and I'm just going to turn off those beeps because they're a little bit annoying here. And I also turned on the workouts on the main screen. So now you can see, not only is it highlighting the workout or the set that you're currently on your phone, but it's also highlighting that and showing that information for the swimmers. So let's scroll back to this screen here. Once again, if you want to use your phone or an iPad as your display device, you could have an iPad set up next to the pool, and some of the new iPads are big enough that you can display the workout, and the swimmers will be able to see where they're currently at. You can use it as a pace clock. Now, this was something that I talked about in the workouts video. I don't know if you had a chance to watch that one. But this is an example of a set that has 3 different variations. So this would be used in a case where I had one lane that had stronger swimmers than the other 2 lanes. So the first lane up at the top, I have doing 1050s on 20 seconds. And once again, it's an accelerated rate to show you how this works. Second lane is doing 950s, and the third lane is doing 850s. And what this will do is it will run through and show you the pace clock on all of those different lanes. And so the swimmers just have to keep track of which pace clock they need to look at if you were using this option. So it can be a handy feature, but one thing to point out is that the next set will not start until all 3 of these are finished. So I can't go in and set up 1050s on the minute and then have another alternate in there of 50/50s on the minute. I mean, it's not going to continue with the next set until all 3 of these have been completed. And here we got about looks like we got another minute or so before we get through with these. So in the meantime, what I could go in and let's just say I want to pause this with the pause button, and we still see the clocks, and I can still scroll between. Although if I have this kind of set, it kind of makes it a little bit harder to see those clocks on this display. But I can stop, or pause the workout, and then resume it. Let's say I see them doing something wrong. I want to correct something. I can pause the clock, instruct the swimmers, and then resume it and pick up where they're at. The other thing I can do is when I pause it, I may want to just stop the workout. And as I say, you can go in and restart from a selected set. So maybe instead of I don't want to restart. Maybe I want to restart that set over again. Okay, they got partway in and they weren't doing it as I wanted. So I'm going to stop the workout completely. Come over to this sets list. Select the list or select the set I want, and then start from that point. So that's how you can control the clock. And then, so that's basically it. Once again, if I'm depending on what screen I'm on, the buttons to resume and stop it completely, will change position. But we try to make most use of the screen real estate, but still give you options, especially for this mode here, where the a phone or a iPad could be used at the side of a pool for an individual swimmer, if they want to run their workouts and have their own personal pace clock to guide them through their sets. So that was the goal in this design, and I hope you like it. Send me some feedback at bigfishsoftware@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Yeah.